Free. When I was 7, I learned a
So this is Hens Hall, Macklemore's latest track that he just released. And if you can tell, if you haven't been following the protests, it is in reference to the renaming of Hamilton Hall that took place during last week's occupation. They named it after Hind Kudari, who was murdered by Israel in an extremely abominable situation. So
lesson from Cuban Easy.
They basically left this little girl to sit in her car and die slowly. Not Hind. Different Hind. So, yeah, this 5-year-old Palestinian girl was found dead after being trapped in a car. Like, they literally would not let anybody come rescue this girl. So she was left to die slowly and horribly while surrounded by the bodies of her dead family. Hind Rajab, that's her last name. She was 5 years old, and the ambulance, the people whose job it is to rescue people who have been attacked by the Israelis, was not able to access her because the Israelis basically targeted the car and kept shooting at it and wouldn't let anybody come through. So 2 ambulance workers who were dispatched to rescue Hind Rajab were also murdered by the Israelis. Her cousin, 15-year-old Layan Hamada, made a desperate call for help to emergency services that was recorded by the Palestinian Red Crescent Society and shared on social media. Audio of gunshots heard during the call revealed that Hamada was killed while making the call. They're shooting at us. The tank is right next to me. We're in the car. The tank is right next to us. Yeah. Her daughter, Hind's mother, Wissam Hamada, said that this 5-year-old little girl dreamed of becoming a doctor so she can help her people. Among her last words were, "Come take me. Will you come and take me? I'm so scared. Please come." I listened to this audio as the shit was going down. And yeah, basically all that the person on the other end of the phone could do was read the Quran to her. That is a horrible, fucked up way to die.
What was it?
Macklemore trending over Drake and Kendrick wasn't on my bingo card. I ain't complaining though. This is based. It is extremely based. Like this is what rappers with prestige. This is what everybody with prestige. This is what celebrities need to be doing. The fucking Met Gala was tonight. Basically some bonfire of the vanities type shit. Some butcher's ball type shit. You have all these people parading around in uniforms at the uniforms. Well, I guess they are uniforms of bourgeois class loyalty, but parading around in expensive outfits that the average working person would have to work a lifetime just to buy one part of. And here you go. What are my thoughts on fucking Slammer memes? I love fucking Slammer. That's my favorite political cartoonist.
Oh yeah, fuck the police. Actors and badges protecting property in a system that was designed by white supremacy. But the people are in the streets. You could pay off Meta, you can't pay off me. Politicians who serve by any means, APAC, Kufi, and all the companies. You see, we sell fear around the land of the free, but this generation here is about to cut the...
Apparently Macklemore knows the Blue Scholars, which are an explicitly Marxist rap duo. His song even sounds like them. I don't know when he gave, if I recall correctly, when he gave his talk at the Free Palestine DC rally months ago, he wasn't planning to do it, but the organizers knew he was there and asked him to give a little speech, so he, off the chest, gave a short speech on Palestine liberation. I also heard from a comrade of mine in New York that he apparently donated a shitload of money to the Answer Coalition, so. It's interesting seeing him, like, this guy made the 2010s corny as fuck. That fucking fucking thrift shop song. And a bunch of, well, I do like a couple of his songs from that era. My Oh My. Like, that's probably my favorite song from him. After this one, of course. But, like, he's definitely vindicating himself and making an atonement for the corniness that he put out in the 2010s. So, hats off to Macklemore. He's based now. In the whole Drake and Kendrick beef, obviously I've got Kendrick because, like, fuck Drake. I cannot stand Drake. Elon Musk is fucking following him now. Elon Musk is following Drake now. If Elon Musk follows you, you are probably a very bad person. You want to see 2 other very bad people? So, Haas, Adam Tadier, whatever the fuck his name is, got ran off Emory's campus, as I showed you a couple days ago. And here he is with his twink boyfriend, Jackson Hinkle. Let's see what they have to say.
All these faggot.
Also, yes, all of the proceeds from Hins Hall will go to the UNRWA. Based.
Students at Emory, and that's what they are. Bunch of pussies, too, by the way. Because
Jackson looks like a fucking robot. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this dude was grown in a lab by Haas.
not one of them could confront us in person about this. We made them feel so unsafe by being on campus. We were walking around their gay little fucking camp out.
Like, in what universe is this any different from fascist rambling? Like, he's pissed because he got ran off of Emory, because all he wanted to talk about was Jackson Hinkle. Not a word for Palestine. Then he started attacking the students who were literally going face to face, throwing down, toe to toe with the cops, while his cowardly ass was hiding behind a computer screen.
Or whatever. Not
Yes, I'm currently aware of the fact that I'm sitting in front of a computer screen. In a fedora. I'm such a meme.
a single one of them came up to us and told us how they felt. Not a single one.
Some took photos with us.
Some took photos with us. So understand, when I have a sense of honor, how disgusting.
You have no honor. What person with honor would go to a pro-Palestine solidarity action or give a speech in defense of a white dude? I understand you're a Lebanese phalangist and fascist, but like what? Like, why would you center a white man over the 30,000 plus? Like, you're literally using these people's deaths
I am at
as a fucking cudgel for your LaRoucheite bullshit.
these pussies.
He probably is a divorced dad. He certainly looks like one. Look at that receding hairline. I know I'm one to talk, but at least I own my baldness. Plus, my baldness makes me hot as fuck. It just makes him look like a fucking pedophile.
Students, while universities in Gaza are being bombed, these bitch-ass students.
You don't give a shit about Gaza. How the fuck are you going to talk about the universities in Gaza that are being bombed? Like, aren't you anti-third worldism anyway? Aren't you anti-third worldism anyway? Like, isn't your political line, what little of a political line that you have, like that the American workers and the American students need to rise up and topple the Anglo-British ruling class, well, Anglo-American ruling class?
Students are so.
Hinkle has said that Netanyahu is a force of good because of multipolarity and because he's close to Putin. Well, Putin definitely views him as a useful idiot, just like he views Tucker Carlson as a useful idiot. Like, remember that interview I watched a couple months ago? Like, it wasn't an interview as much as it was Putin lecturing this dude. He basically saw him as an American useful idiot. And it basically was him, like, talking about Russian history that nobody gives a fuck about for hours on end. Even by the end, Tucker got bored, and Tucker just came to ride his dick.
sensitive that me and Jackson make them feel unsafe. Nobody escorted us out of that event. Nothing happened.
You were made to leave.
Only afterwards we heard
If you're giving a speech and you're made to leave, you were basically fundamentally escorted out of that event.
about they were shitting their pants scared.
They weren't scared of you.
Some stupid bitch made a Twitter.
Why are you using misogynistic slurs? Like, that's not appealing to the working class. Like, these guys, they think that basically acting like they're on 4chan circa 2015 is appealing to the American working class. The American working class that you want to organize doesn't talk like that. Of course, neither one of these guys want to organize. All they're concerned about is building their brand.
Post claiming that Jackson was laughed out of our space.
That did not happen.
Jackson was laughed out of your space. For all we know, you went home and had a panic attack. You didn't talk to us. You didn't say a word at us. You didn't even passive-aggressively make a remark. You averted your gaze when we walked by, you bitch, and that's what you are. Your mother and father should be ashamed of you because you're a retarded bitch. I don't care that you go to Emory. I don't care what college or university you go to.
This guy literally failed out of law school. I think he's just jealous because those kids are smarter than him. Hey, James Baldwin.
If we were Jewish, if we were Polish, if we were Irish, if we were Jewish, if we were Poles, if we had, in fact, in your mind, a frame of reference, our heroes would be your heroes too. Nat Turner would be a hero for you instead of a threat. Malcolm X might still be alive. And everyone is very proud of brave little Israel, a state against which I have nothing. I don't want to be misinterpreted. I'm not an anti-Semite. But, when the Israelis pick up guns, or the Poles, or the Irish, or any white man in the world says, "Give me liberty or give me death," the entire white world applauds. When a black man says exactly the same thing, word for word, he is judged a criminal and treated like one, and everything possible is done to make an example of this bad nigger so there won't be any more like him.
Precisely. Let's get some theory in. Why doesn't Marx have any clothes on? Put clothes on Marx. I'm sure that Marx spent a lot of time dead, drunk on his couch, naked, but that is not how we should remember one of the originators of our philosophy and political economy. Super exploitation. Exploitation is not super.
A central feature of the Marxist economic framework is the idea that some of the labor done by workers goes unpaid. This surplus labor...
I wonder if this guy's going to mention surplus. I wonder if this guy's going to mention fucking imperialism and settler colonialism and the fact that America is literally built almost exclusively through the labor of black and indigenous and third world laborers.
Corresponds in turn with surplus value.
Why would you be getting a drunk BRG tonight? I don't drink alcohol. I'm pretty sure I've made this clear.
Which itself relates to the profits
Alcohol is for white people.
realized by capitalists after the sale
Matter of fact, I encourage white people to drink all the alcohol. Like, just drink every day so it makes it easier for us to cut your fucking throat.
of output. Marx argued that some portion of the labor time expended by the working class is paid in the form of wages. This is the labor that is necessary for the reproduction of the working class. The remaining amount of labor is a surplus reflected via commodity exchange.
Of course you Gopnik drinks enough for BRG and Hakim both. He's fucking Serbian. Like those people have fucking rakiha in their veins.
In the form of profits. The ratio between surplus labor and necessary labor is what Marx called the rate of surplus value, or alternatively, the rate of exploitation. The bigger the rate of exploitation, the more time workers spend performing surplus labor relative to necessary labor. The rate of exploitation can be influenced by many different forces, and as such is different from company to company, industry to industry.
I don't drink alcohol, I prefer water. Oh, what a boring fucking person you are.
And country to
I don't like drinking alcohol, but I like being around people that are drinking alcohol, and I like seeing the results of people drinking alcohol.
country.
You have water in your veins. You are a milkman.
Wages, for instance, are...
I will drink beer occasionally. I'm a fan of Guinness, but I do not drink beer every day. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not even a social drinker. Like, I probably have like 2 beers a year. I am a very, very boring person, Nate.
heavily influenced by class struggle. The more the working class has organized against the interest of capital, the bigger piece of the pie
I should try mezcal. Like, I just want to be an alcohol hipster. I should just try all the strange alcohol. I want to try absinthe, all that shit.
it has been able to secure for itself. Conversely, a particularly powerful capitalist class can lobby
I can't stand this fucking dude's voice. Why are all Marx's videos made by guys that sound like this?
for an increase in the working day or a decrease in wages, both of which will raise the rate of exploitation. These dynamics
I didn't mean to insult him. I just don't like his voice. I'm sure he's a very nice person.
necessarily mean that the rate of exploitation will differ substantially at the international level. Specifically, nearly all the workers in the so-called Global South will be
You can't get much nerdier than fucking JT.
exploited at a greater degree than their northern counterparts. Apart from a higher rate of exploitation, there is another method by which capitalists can extract value from labor: superexploitation. It was Rui Mauro Marini, a Brazilian Marxist economist, who first explored the notion of superexploitation.
I am 100% certain I have seen you say that you drink in regards to Chairman Fred not drinking within the past few months. Shit, I'm pretty sure that Chairman Fred even drank. Like, the Panthers even had their own fucking drink. They called it Panther Punch. Panther Piss, something like that. What the fuck are you remembering what I said a few months ago anyways? Do you people not have fucking lives?
Marini argued that if capitalist exploitation refers to the appropriation of value exceeding the value of labor power, then superexploitation is a particular form of exploitation where the value of labor power is violated. Workers that are superexploited are paid a wage below the socially determined level of reproduction. It is important to point out that superexploitation should not be conflated with a higher rate of exploitation. The latter suggests that the cost of labor power is still equal to its value, but both have been commensurately driven down, for example by increases in productivity. Superexploitation is specifically the form of exploitation where the cost of labor power is less than its value. This means that capitalists can increase the rate of exploitation by way of higher productivity without introducing any superexploitation. Put differently,
Off topic, but do you think you can get a guest spot on the Hassan Abi broadcast? I don't know. I guess if Hassan needs a fucking diversity quota, I guess I could be on. It's up to him. It's his fucking show, not mine.
Exploitation occurs when some portion of the wage fund is moved into the accumulation fund. Although superexploitation is predominantly a feature of underdeveloped economies, it certainly manifests in the global north as well. Migrant workers, for example, are particularly susceptible to superexploitation, often being paid a fraction of the market wage rate in a given industry. Wherever superexploitation occurs, it tends to leverage the correspondingly weak sociopolitical power of workers. The benefit of superexploitation undoubtedly accrues to the capitalists of the global south, who are extracting the value of labor power at an extraordinary rate. However, Southern companies and exporters generally do not possess much market power, meaning they are facing stiff international competition and are probably unable to keep all of the gains from superexploitation for themselves. Instead, it is multinational corporations, primarily based in the global north, who have the market power to absorb the bonus surplus from superexploitation. In an increasingly complex global economy where
Oh, cool. What are you drawing? Fucking picture of me?
supply chains stretch across dozens of countries,
A lot of the UCLA students were fans of Hassan, and then when he went there and did a real live stream, he was received positively and even bought $800 worth of pizza for them, which he always does for an IRL stream. He didn't for the writer strike. That's cool. Yeah, Hassan's a good dude. A lot of people hate him, but the thing that I've seen from him, been good.
it is nigh impossible
I also like the fact that he actually takes the time to learn about the stuff that he's about to talk about. Like, he was interested in Yemen, so he interviewed a guy from Yemen. And that's what you're supposed to do. I think it's part of his journalistic training as well. Like, you got people like Destiny, Vosh, all they do, they just fucking talk out of their asses. Or they just bring people on to berate them and build their fucking following. That's fucking stupid. So, yeah, Hassan's a good dude.
to measure just how much value is added by unpaid labor for a given commodity.
And note that I rarely ever say that a white person is a good dude.
This reality is, of course, one of the main
He's okay, but he could be doing more with his platform and resources. I mean, I'm not a fan of telling people what to do with their resources. Like, he doesn't get it. I don't think he's not a fucking multi-billionaire capitalist. He doesn't own fucking slave sweatshops in Myanmar or Bangladesh. A lot of people say that, like, I mean, it's his platform. He helped build it. He helped build it. So, you can have on the show whoever the fuck he wants to have on the show, man.
motivations for what is sometimes called global labor arbitrage.
Wait, Vosh and Destiny actually went outside? Man, if Vosh came to my fucking door, I would... Well, I don't think I could say what I would do to him.
Global labor arbitrage is the practice of offshoring labor-intensive production.
You guys like my hat? Now that I don't have those big country-ass ear cans, like, I can display my broad diversity of hats now.
Production processes to countries
This is a Stetson.
or regions that have exceptionally weak working classes. In such places, the cost of labor for every unit of output can be minimized dramatically. Moreover, some component of the reproduction of the working class occurs entirely outside market spaces. Food, fuel, and domestic care is procured by families
You made me get chocolate on my hat, you piece of shit.
in economic activities that go entirely unlisted in formal national accounts of output. Most importantly, these necessities become uncosted inputs for capitalists who nonetheless appropriate the value
My signature Thomas Shelby hat? I have like 5 of them. You need to be more specific.
added by workers in their productive facilities. Although he was not referring specifically to workers of the Global South, Marx once noted that this kind of labor is exploited twice over, both by its own employer and by the employer's competitors. Much of today's global economy is predicated on this arrangement, where Southern workers produce surplus value for the capitalists of the South and the North. It is worth adding that the kinds of commodities Southern labor is employed to produce are not merely related to raw materials and basic manufacturing. Increasingly, even the most advanced manufacturing supply chains draw on the surplus labor of the South. The case of the Mexican automotive exports paints this picture perfectly. Although Mexican workers produce the very same cars that their American counterparts make in the United States, they are paid a fraction of the wages. Lenin spoke of another beneficiary in this economic structure, the workers of the North. In imperial
Controversial point. Like, there are literally people on the left today who say that the workers in the global North don't have any benefits above and beyond what their class siblings in the global South have. Like, they're literally deluding themselves. Like, shit, even in the global North, like, there's stratification of labor. Like, why do you think black workers and brown workers and women workers make far less than white male workers? Super exploitation.
Lenin
All settler colonial countries are like that.
introduced the idea of a labor aristocracy. In other words, a privileged working class in the imperial core that to some extent benefits from the super profits extracted by northern companies. This position of privilege, Lenin argued, could also motivate workers in the global North to support imperialism. There is no doubt that, knowingly or unknowingly, the majority of residents in the global North recognize the advantages they possess by virtue of belonging to the winning side of the global capitalist structure.
I don't think many of them realize that at all, actually.
Still, we should be particular.
I think that the average American worker doesn't consciously want to exploit people in Brazil or Argentina or Ethiopia or Nigeria, but they think that they have what they have because they worked for it.
Still, we should be particularly careful about drawing political lines between the working people of the world. For one, the capitalist mode of production, by definition, requires that it is the owners of capital who control the distribution of the total value produced by society. It is questionable to what degree, if at all, northern workers play a part in deciding the global distribution of value. More pertinently, with the production of many commodities requiring the labor of both northern and southern workers, it is in the interests of both groups of workers to engage in class struggle together, rather than siding with their respective national capitalists. Modern communications technology has paved the way for coordinating labor
Last hired, first fired.
action at the international level, making the threat of unions potentially more powerful than ever. The first step to moving beyond the current mode of production should therefore be a sharpened international class consciousness that
I agree.
mobilizes labor along the wide-reaching supply chains. International class consciousness should be particularly cognizant of superexploitation and the general reliance of global capital on the extraordinary appropriation of Southern labor's output. The YouTube
You could have gone a little deeper into talking about the internal workings of superexploitation in settler colonies like the United States, but it's not as horrible as I thought it was going to be. Ooh, the Nederlanden. The Nederlanden. You know, most people think that Netherlands is chill, where everybody gets to just sit around and smoke weed all day, but I'm impressed by the strength and struggle that they've shown. So I think these are Zionists. Yeah, these are Zionists that are attacking an encampment in Amsterdam. It's crazy because like this is like this shows that these people are literally learning from each other. Like there was a huge fucking basically an attempted pogrom at UCLA last week. Now you have Zionist mobs running amok all over the fucking country and now the world. I mean, these people are funded by the same people. Like one of them is fucking Jerry Seinfeld's wife. Like we've literally got Seinfeld's wife, and for all we know, fucking Seinfeld himself funding Zionist mobs. That's where we are. It's May 7th, 2024, and this is where we are. We've got washed up comedians' wives funding Zionist mobs. And yes, Jerry also is a sex offender. The Dutch want us to forget about their colonies. Fuck them. We were just talking about unions. The Teamsters are honoring correctional officers. Yes, the Teamsters have organized jail cops. The Teamsters Union is proud to celebrate National Correctional Officers Week, which runs from May 5th to 11th. Correctional officers have one of the most difficult and dangerous jobs in America. Ooh, cry me a fucking river. Also, DJ Vlad stepped in a giant pile of doo-doo this week because he came for a black woman. And, like, all of black Twitter ganged up on his Ukrainian ass. Ukrainians are not the most popular people on a good day. But he decided that he wanted to come for a literal professor at Princeton. I mean, would you take a guy like this? Guy has no business. Just look at him. This guy has no business talking about fucking hip hop. He should be talking about hard style, the Red Army Choir, balalaika music. Instead, he's made a fucking platform for himself off vulturizing black people's drama. So this is a really, really good article that was released yesterday by Miss Kyla Janae Lacey. Yes, Vladimir the Fed. Like everybody, almost everybody that has sat down with this fucking guy has ended up under federal indictment, and people still keep talking to him. Well, actually, I think that might change. So this is the genesis of all this shit. Might be a little too. Hold on, let me. There we go. So it started here. He started with one of the diss tracks from Kendrick in his Drake beef. He says, Kendrick's Not Like Us needed a better mix. It takes away from the song. And Morgan Jerkins, who is basically hip-hop royalty, said, you are white. This is a black folk affair. And DJ Vlad, being the cop that he is, said, wait, so a professor at Princeton is telling me that a white person shouldn't be allowed to voice their opinion about hip-hop. Is that how you interact with your students? So he literally goes right for the Karen shit. Morgan replies, what I'm saying is that you put your opinion in a discussion that's not needed. I agree. I have her back throughout this whole fucking conversation. As little as me having somebody's back means, but like, no. Like when you come for a black woman, I'm obliged to hate you. I'm sorry. I already hated DJ Vlad. He's a fucking culture vulture, and he doesn't give a shit about black people. He just gives a shit about our cultural products and stealing them. This conversation is and should center black people, not you. Now, he flat out admits that he's going to snitch. Don't try to change your words now. I'll be reaching out to Princeton about this on Monday. So, let's just unpack this. Like, why are people pissed? Okay. First of all, you claim to be a hip-hop journalist or whatever. So, you spend a lot of time around black people, yeah? So, you know that black people have a fucking hard time in this country, right? You know that, like, a black woman professor at Princeton, the road to that position was not easy, right? So why the fuck would you, as a person, a foreigner in our culture, come for a black woman like this? You know that black people catch hell in this society. You know that we were slaves. You know that we are the last hired, first fired. You know that no matter how many degrees that we get, we're still seen as incompetent. And here you are, because this woman put you in your rightful place, Like, nobody needs a Ukrainian dude's opinion on hip hop. What exactly do you have to say? What special insight do you have that a black person does not? We invented hip hop. This is our culture. Would I make comments like this about hardstyle or balalaika music or the Red Army Choir? No, I don't even speak Russian. Why would I? What business do I have commenting on the cultural product of a people whose language I don't even speak? Humble yourself, man. You're still a fucking guest. Yet here you are trying to sit at the head of the table. He goes off with the snitching. It's called a permanent record. Like this hall monitor ass dude. People spew ignorant and bigoted comments at you publicly and then act like they're getting bullied when they get a response. Typical victim mentality. Go ahead and take that at Princeton out of your profile suite. Like, I want to punch this man. I want to strangle this man. Like, black women get so little respect in this society, and here you have somebody who's literally eating off of black culture. It has been for years. Like, this dude quit making hip-hop beats because he realized that he wasn't any good at it. He realized that the culture was not going to accept him if he chose to do that. So he decided to become a culture vulture instead. This lady's uncle is literally Rodney Darkchild Jerkins' niece. Well, her uncle is Rodney Darkchild Jerkins. So, even fucking Mark Lamont Hill came for him, and his response was to call him Mark LaFlop. Like, this dude has no respect for black people whatsoever. Like she said, Vlad is the arsenic on top of a warm, hot chocolate chip cookie. Numerous times, rappers have taken the bait and have since found themselves facing indictments after sitting down for his interviews. This man is dangerous. This man has put black people in jail. This man has harmed our community. This man has harmed our people. Like, when this dude gets mad at you, when Kevin gets mad at you, you're through. Like, this is the nicest fucking guy. But this is what he has to say on this whole DJ Vlad shit.
The mix. I just really don't like the mix on that song. I mean, you just two-track the SOB. You really screwed the pooch on that one, buddy. I mean, you got the whole world a-listening, pal. And you don't take time to do the mix? I mean, I don't mind the lyrics. Sure, you betcha. But the mix, I mean, where's the production quality? You know, Prince didn't do a great job on the mix sometimes, and look at the streams.
Vlad has only harmed our people because we let him, to be honest. I agree. Also, funny thing about Fetty Wap, that's actually one of the nicknames that I have at work because I have a lazy eye.
Look at the difference in the streams on the mix. If K. Dot would have done a better job on the mix, I think he'd be up in the battle. But you know, the mix is important. Disgusting.
Disgusting. When Kev on stage, a hugely popular and notoriously nice internet comedian, does not like you, boy, that might signal the fall of the Iron Curtain, and rightfully so. Vlad is no more a part of hip-hop culture than a white record executive who makes money from murder music. Again, while he's entitled to his opinion, that does not mean that his opinion is not based on a habit of drawing blood from the most banal and virulent parts of hip-hop culture and not recognizing that what he deems salacious, others deem as a part of survival. He is only interested in showcasing the most indecent parts of hip-hop culture because he does not care to see the beautiful. Very well said. Thank you, Kyla. So, yeah, fuck DJ Vlad. Long live Macklemore. Y'all ever heard of the Nihao incident? So this Japanese dude crash landed on a sparsely populated Hawaiian island after Pearl Harbor. The locals threw him a party because they did not know about Pearl Harbor. The locals did find out about Pearl Harbor through like one of those hand crank radios, and then they arrest him. He induced some Japanese American locals into treason. Basically, like so the guy confiscated his papers. His main thing was to get his papers back and his pistol, because when you crash land on an enemy island, you don't let your papers fall into the hands of the enemy, civilian or otherwise. So he was allowed to stay with one of the Japanese-American locals. He beat up the 16-year-old kid who was assigned to guard him and then locked him in a warehouse and stole his weapons back. He burned his plane in some dude's house. He shot another one of his captors 3 times, and this guy that he shot was still able to pick him up and throw him into a wall. Then he got his head smashed in by dude's wife. Why is there not a movie about this? Because America sucks, and it doesn't want us to be happy. Muhammad, Magbar America. Of course Israel will reject any ceasefire. They never wanted those hostages. They wanted an excuse to enact genocide. All the hostage propaganda was always nihilistic bullshit. I agree. Rafah is currently being invaded and attacked now. And they basically, like, Israel's like, no, we don't want a fucking ceasefire. We want to drive you all into the fucking ocean. This was never about the hostages. Everybody that's been talking about hostages for the past 3 months has been made an ass out of. This is how you struggle. Preemptive Mayday attack against the Portland Police Bureau. On Mayday, we torched some PPP cars at the training facility. We cut through a fence, set 10 fires, and are happy it grew to burn 15 cars. We did it for the Haymarket martyrs. We did it for all the black and indigenous rebels murdered by slavers and settlers. We did it for all the brutalized student protesters. Above all, we did it for the Palestinian martyrs. And we want to remind the world that the official count is stuck at 35,000 martyrs because the Israelis bombed every hospital to stop accurate reporting of the dead. Our attack was preemptive. After seeing Humboldt, Columbia, UCLA, and more, we knew the occupation at Portland State University would be swept violently and wanted to attack PPP before. While we respect the student occupations, particularly the ones occupying buildings and causing damages to the colleges, we hate to see them passive and waiting to be attacked. Catch the police off guard. They do not believe you are free. Show them you are. Raid them before they raid you. For the students, we have the following messages. 1. No symbolic victories. Do not accept speeches and committees and apology emails. The 2 demands. Divest. Amnesty for all. 2. No negotiations. Do not give up ground until you see the money pulled out of the charges dropped and the suspensions canceled. Do not let them demobilize you. Do not let the parties, fuck the communist pieces of shit. Well, that wasn't very nice. The student government or the admin tell you it's over. It's not. Keep the threat of your return present, especially if the admin refuses to meet demands. 4. Fight. Defend your camps. If the frat bros come, smash their frat house windows. If the Zionist settlers come, throw fireworks at them. If the cops come, don't just resist arrest, fight them. They will hate you and beat you if you're peaceful and violent, and it's time to be violent. 5. Out of the quads, out of the buildings, into the streets. As the semester ends and it's not over. Fight during the summer. When next year starts, fight then too. We call for more actions to avenge Palestinians and the brutalized students at Portland State University and beyond. Let 10 million cop cars burn. So you say fuck communists, then you fucking bite our fucking Mao said let 100 flowers bloom. You say let 10 million cop cars burn. Rachel Corrie's Ghost Brigade. Sectarianism and anti-communism aside, I mean, objectively, this was a based action. Hopefully, I mean, anarchists do have a reason to hate communists, though. Like, historically, we have treated them like shit. But, like, communists like me, especially Maoists, like, we're actually trying to make amends. So saying, fuck the communist pieces of shit, I mean, it's just giving more ammunition to those so-called tankies that want to just throw you all into a fucking neo-gulag. Columbia, because entering a student dining hall wasn't enough, these cops decided to argue with dining workers about having a no-to-go option, threw a fit when told they had to eat inside, and walk away talking shit about the dining staff. That's how you get your food spit in, man. This happened in Bellevue, Washington.
Answer Mark's question. Have you stopped beating your wife? That's not a real question.
There are activists manipulating the TikTok algorithm by talking about the Drake and Kendrick beef for the first few seconds of the video, and then they switch to talking about Rafah. That is very creative.
You know what happened?
Like I said.
Stop hitting me! Stop hitting!
I'm sorry, but you do that to any woman around me, you're getting knocked the fuck out.
You want this?
Don't touch her. Don't touch her. Don't touch them.
And these Zionists are so fucking bold because very few people are actually confronting and fighting them. I mean, the anarchists were right. Like, these people need to start having actual physical consequences for their behavior. Like, in no world can you just go around putting your hands on women and then knocking them to the ground. In no world. But again, many of these people are IDF veterans and they're used to brutalizing women and children and old people. But no, you don't do that. You don't do that here.
Don't touch her. Don't touch her. I can't believe.
Now the fucking Zionist is playing the victims and throwing his hands up. I can't fucking stand these people, man.
You're filming this like you think it makes your guy look good.
Haas ain't throwing me nowhere because Haas is never going to take power in this country.
Israelis.
Disgusting pieces of shit. Beautiful houses in Ferguson, by the way. Did you guys know I grew up in Ferguson? Yep. Beautiful. They call them century homes because they were built roughly around a century ago. Oh. The Zionists are praying before committing war crimes in Gaza. Sickening. This is Crusader shit. Like, that's shit that the Crusaders used to do. Adam 16's dad, Philip Grandmason. Oh, wow. That's a very conspiratorial name. Was pardoned by Bill Clinton, and his Uncle Joe led Bill Clinton's presidential campaign and worked for the Export-Import Bank under George W. Bush. All these white rap journalists are fetted the fuck up. They're all fucking feds. You gotta be a fool if you sit down and talk to these people. So we know that the settlers in the United States killed a shitload of buffalo, right? This is like, look at this dude just sitting here proudly posing in front of a mountain of murdered bison. Sickening. They would literally get on trains. They would literally get on trains with big-ass buffalo rifles and just ride through shooting every buffalo they saw. Yeah, that's what settlers do. Settlers do not take care of the land. Settlers do not take care or care about the animals. Settlers show up and kill all the fucking animals. That's what they do. Well, this is Bisan.
14 days. It's now the turn of Rafah to be destroyed. So the Israeli army today at the morning dropped leaflets over the people living in the east and the middle of Rafah, telling them to evacuate.
My thing is, where the fuck are these people supposed to go? So you basically pinned all these people in this extremely small part of Gaza, and now you're invading that too. Where the fuck are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to illegally migrate into Egypt? Are they supposed to jump into the Mediterranean? Are they supposed to flee into the Negev desert? Where the fuck are they supposed to go? You murderous motherfuckers.
Places because they're going to start the military operations or the ground invasion there in the east and the middle of Rafah. And they told people not to go to the Mawasi area or the coastal area of Rafah, not even to go to any schools or hospitals in the west of Rafah. They told people to go to Khan Yunis. Yes, as you heard, Khan Yunis. Khan Yunis is 100% destroyed. The municipality, the humanitarian workers and agencies are saying that the schools, the hospitals, the infrastructure, roads and homes of Khan Yunis, the whole area of Khan Yunis, are 100% destroyed. There's no even a place for people to put tents there. For that, it's dangerous and there's no places. There's no water, there's no hospitals, no schools, no homes, no roads. The still standing but destroyed buildings are about to fall. It's too dangerous to be in Khan Yunis. And despite that, the Israeli army knows everything about this because they did this. They know everything, but they're also telling people that the Mawasi area of Rafah is no longer a safe area. It's no longer a safe area. While in the past, when we were in the north of Gaza Strip or when we were in Khan Yunis, they were telling us to go to Al Mawasi area, to the far south of Rafah, to the humanitarian aid zone. Now, they are telling us simply that the place where hundreds of thousands of people lived there, built their tents there, tried to secure water and electricity by putting some solar cells, all these people are in danger and need to evacuate to Khan Yunis. They updated the safe area zone and excluded the Mawasi area of Rafah. where the field hospitals are, where the distribution spots, aid distribution spots are, where where everything is. Even the warehouses of UNRWA, UNICEF, UNFPA, and any other agencies. The warehouses are there. Even the word central kitchen, main kitchen is there in the Mawasi area of Rafah and the west of Rafah. Now, nothing of this is a safe area. This is the first thing you need to know about the invasion of Rafah. Today, they started to evacuate the east and the middle of Rafah and telling people to go to Khan Yunis, while Khan Yunis is very dangerous and cannot be lived. Khan Yunis is not livable, guys. There's no life in Khan Yunis. No life, never. Okay? You already saw Khan Yunis in a lot of videos, my videos, and I'll show you more and more of destruction in Khan Yunis. But no people can live there. And now they are telling all these people to go there. Women, elderly, children, patients, hospitals. They are even telling Abu Yusuf al-Najjar hospital to evacuate. Now in Rafah, you have only 3 hospitals. Abu Yusuf al-Najjar, Kuwaiti hospital, and these are very small hospitals and only dealing with the emergency and the first aid, let me say, and the maternity hospital, the only maternity hospital in Gaza Strip, Al Morati Hospital. And the first 2 hospitals need to evacuate now, and the 3rd hospital is also threatened.
Yeah. That's where we are. So think about that as you crowd your face with fucking food and swill alcohol. Think about that. There's people, millions of people who literally have no fucking food. They have nowhere to go. While we sit here in the first world stuffing our fucking faces and focusing on stupid shit. Focusing on, is the Kendrick and Drake beef entertaining? Yes. But the fact that it took a white dude, Macklemore, to actually bring this discussion back around to shit that actually matters. Bruh. We live in hell. We live in hell. You got this idiot that thinks Biden is a communist. My name is Deb. I live in Ohio. I'm old enough to know better. I will not be voting for Biden in November. Then she's pointing to a fucking ball cap with a hammer and sickle crossed out. Like, this is the level of political discourse in America. These people are deranged. These people are fucking deranged. But even in the midst of all this deranged behavior, you've still got spots of hope. There's no sense in being a doomer because shit like this is happening. Like, you've literally got
all unauthorized structures.
You've literally got tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that are turning out in solidarity with these people. You got hundreds of thousands of people who are donating. You got hundreds of thousands of people who are educating themselves. You got hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions of people, who refuse to vote for Genocide Joe in November. So there are points of hope. What we have to do as communists is seize on those points of hope and not let ourselves become nihilists and doomers.
Intent to be in violation of the law.
Like, people are saying, oh, why are they so weak? Why are they letting the Zionists do this to them? Like, an entire generation. What Ferguson was to the young millennials like myself, people who were born in the mid-90s, like, this is what these pro-Palestine protests are, along with George Floyd. Like, this is the tempering of the Zoomer generation. Every generation has a struggle to go through in this country until we establish socialism. This is the Zoomer struggle. Like, people think that Zoomers are vapid and shallow. All they care about is no. Like, these kids are throwing the fuck down. It's our job as their big brothers and sisters, basically, to guide them and encourage them in their rebellion. There needs to be armed militant leftists in the front line. Okay. People keep saying this. Leftists are not shooting any fucking body, okay? Leftists are not. A leftist hasn't shot anybody in this country since 1981. The fucking Brinks robbery with Weather Underground, well, former Weather Underground, and the Black Liberation Army, May 19th Communist Organization. Stop saying this shit. Nobody is doing that right now. Yes, guns are good to have. But I wouldn't trust that average leftist around me with a gun. They bought the motherfucker yesterday, and they're more liable to shoot themselves or me in the fucking dick than actually defend anybody's lives. Like, I read an article the other day about this kid in fucking Colorado. Somebody was about to drive through the protest, so he wounded like 2 or 3 other people because he just started firing into a crowd of people. You want to play with guns? Join SRA. Get some training. Get some training in. Am I saying you should never, ever, ever show up to a protest armed? No, I'm not a rightist. But you have to be smart about this. This is a college campus in California. Do you think that these people want, or do you think that these cops or this university administration is going to fucking allow a fucking gun on their campus? You're going to go to jail for the rest of your life. These are happening at university campuses. Most university campuses have no gun policies. Of course, they also have no encampment policies, but still, a gun in the wrong hands, a gun in the hands of an untrained person is dangerous to the same people that you're trying to support and protect. Now, if you have training and it's actually requested by the encampment organizers that, hey, we need somebody to help defend us with strong criticism, then yeah, by all means, show up, do your job. But don't just show up to a protest with guns thinking that you're fucking Che Guevara coming in, because all you're going to do is end up fucking jail. I think I said this the other night. Think before you do things. That's a skill that leftists seem to not have in good quality. You know what would be beneficial than what would be more beneficial than individuals just showing up with fucking guns though? It's on People's City Council page. You know what would be more beneficial than random unaccountable people like just showing up with guns though? Study tactics. Like offer tactical guidance. Offer tactical guidance. Like help them kettle the cops. That's something you can do. Who is responsible for radicalizing Macklemore? The Filipinos mostly. I mean, he does live in a heavily Filipino area. Very large Anabayan chapters in Seattle and Portland, if I recall correctly. 70 years ago, French colonialism in Indochina was blown to pieces at their Iron Hedgehog hideout at Dien Bien Phu, a victory that sent ripples throughout the world. To this day, it stands as a shining beacon of anti-colonialism, inspiring the oppressed peoples of the world. This art is by Astrobot, Duong Bao To. Follow them. Madam Vice President, Hamas says it accepted a ceasefire deal. Your reaction? If this woman is ever president, we are going to see some shit. You thought you've seen some shit? You thought you've seen your share of shit for your shitty life? Let Kamala Harris be president.
Madam Vice President, Hamas says it accepted a ceasefire
Shrimp and grits.
deal. Hamas says it accepted a ceasefire deal. Your reaction?
What are your thoughts on Hamas accepting?
I'm pretty sure that woman is more fucking insane than Joe Biden. Who did Marx colonize? Engels' ass. Go colonize an ass. Peace. Free Palestine.